Section 701, Transaction Value System Method 1. The transaction value shall be the price actually paid or payable for the goods when sold for export to the Philippines, adjusted in accordance with the provisions of this section, provided that there are no restriction as to the disposition or use of the goods by the buyer other than restriction which are imposed or required by law or by Philippine authorities. Limit the geographical area in which the goods may be sold, or do not substantially affect the value of the goods. The sale or price is not subject to some condition or consideration for which a value cannot be determined with respect to the goods being valued, and the buyer and the seller are not related, or where the buyer and the seller are related, that the transaction value is acceptable for customs purposes under the provisions thereof. For purposes of this act, sec- person shall be deemed related only if they are they are officers or directors of one another's business. They are legally recognized partnership in business. There exists an employee relationship between them. Any person any person directly or indirectly owns controls or holds 5% or more of the outstanding voting stocks or shares of both sellers and buyer. One of them one of them directly or indirectly controls the other. Both of them are both of them are directly or indirectly controlled by a third person. Together they directly or indirectly control a third person, or they are members of the same family, including those related by affinity, or up to the fourth civil degree. Persons who are associated in business with one another, in that one is the sole agent, sole distributor, or distributor, or sole concessionaire, however described of the other, shall be deemed to be related for the purposes of this act, if they fall within any of the eight cases cited in the preceding paragraph. In a sale between related persons, the transaction value shall be accepted as basis for customs valuation whenever the importer demonstrate that such value closely approximates one of the following occurring at or about the same time. The the transaction value in sale to unrelated buyers of identical or similar goods for export to the same country of importation. B. The customs value of identical or similar goods as determined under the provision of Section 704 of this Act. Or C. The customs value of identical or similar goods are determined under the provisions of Section 7 Section 705 of this Act. In determining the transaction value, the following shall be added to the price actually paid or payable for the imported goods. In determining the transaction value, the following shall be added to price actually paid or payable for the imported goods. One the to one to the extent that they are incurred by the buyer but are not included in the price actually paid or payable for the imported goods. A. Commission and brokerage fees except buying commissions. B. Cost of containers. C. Cost of packing, whether for labor or materials. D. D. D is value approach appropriate of the following goods and services, materials, components, parts, and similar items incorporated in the imported goods, tools, dyes, molds, and similar items used in the production of imported goods. Materials consumed in the production of the imported goods and engineering artwork, design work, and plans and sketch undertaken elsewhere than in the Philippines and necessary for the production for the productions of imported goods, whereas services are supplied directly or indirectly by the buyer free of charge at the reduced cost for use in collection with the production and sale for export of the imported goods. Amount of royalties and license fees related to the goods being valued that the buyer must pay either directly or indirectly as a condition of sale of the goods at the buyer. Cost of transport of the period goods from the port of exportation to the port of entry in the Philippines. Loading, unloading, and handling charges associated with the transport of the imported goods from the country of exportation to the port in the port of entry in the Philippines, and cost of insurance. All addition to the price actually paid or payable shall be made only on the basis of objective and quantifiable data.